See, when it happened, I knew that day. But then I was filming for months and months and months, and I just was like, oh, I knew this day was coming, but I wasn't expecting it to be this bad. And that's okay. What's not okay is how, if this was as bad as the network says it is, why wasn't I let go a long time ago?
Hey Raindrops, before we get into this episode, I want to invite you to join my community, my YouTube community, honey, of subscribers. So please make sure to subscribe to this channel. I love when y'all comment on my posts and my videos about all of my stars hopping on Reality with the King to share their lives. I cannot thank y'all enough, so make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Listen, the elephant in the room is the monkey comment with Spice. Mm-hmm. And what we saw were the two of you with Shekinah at a restaurant. You leaned in, tried to give her a kiss. She rejected it a little bit. Y'all sit down, words started to fly. She made a comment about your son doesn't like you. Mm-hmm. And your face what was gone. When you talk about how that relationship was so far sucked the life out of you, I think we all saw how that comment sucked the life out of you to the point where it appeared that you weren't there anymore. And
switched.
You know, you flip this table and you charge at her, and in the midst of that, you refer to her as a monkey.
Outside.
Explain to us what was going on in that moment.
There's a lot that happened inside that establishment that wasn't edited out. So when I flipped the table up, Spice got up and fell flat on her face because of all the food. Next thing you know, security, all of that stuff, mayhem comes, da-da-da. I get back on one of the couches and I start throwing shit at her. I wasn't done. So eventually they take me outside, okay? I'm outside at first, talking with producers. Why she keep coming for my son, da-da-da. Next thing you know, she comes to the window where I'm standing at and is lifting up the blinds, banging on the window. Next thing you know, I see her, she putting her ass in the window. So between the banging and her putting her ass, right then and there, I'm like, oh, this bitch is taunting me. After what she just said, she's taunting me. And she's still yelling, yes, that's why your son hates her, that's why your son, and the only reason why I heard that is because as this is going on, the door of the establishment, this is where she's standing, I'm standing here, and there's a door. So the door of the establishment keeps coming out because of cameras, you know, and people and security that are trying to balance out what's inside. So I hear her inside yelling, your son hits you, that's why your son hits you, while she's banging on the window, throwing her ass up. And honestly, it wasn't anything but her banging on the window and her putting her ass reminded me of that in that moment. Not a race, an individual. Her, the way she's bantering me from inside, putting her ass and banging. So what do you think? Like, you're an animal. Was it the wrong choice of animal? Yes. But in that moment, I felt completely violated by a woman that I really respected. I respected Spice so much. She actually came on Atlanta around the same time as me. I related to her because of how we hustle and bustle. And our babies, we gotta sacrifice so much time away from them to do that. It's a common story me and her have. It's something I've always related to her with from the time I met her. You know, like, I thought it was always so great, especially because I've been there. You're flying, like, your kid's in Jamaica doing this, and you're flying here, like the way I used to do for New York, to provide and start a new life, a new chapter. And, you know, so it was very relatable to me. Which is why, regardless of what we were going to sit down and talk about, I gave her that respect and giving her, yeah. Well, and I, like, respecting her. Anybody I respect, I love, I always give kisses. It's just, so, you know what's crazy, Carlos, is that when I first found out about Spice being in a hospital, I found out from really good friends of mine that live in Jamaica. And for a while, I'm like, when I first found out, I received the message, I'm like, what? What's going on? Now, obviously, no one knows that she's in DR or anything like that. So it was something I'm new to. I'm like, what? What's going on? Da, da, da. So I start calling Carly Red. She doesn't pick up. Next thing you know, I call Sierra and Bambi, and we're on 3A. I'm like, yo, I just heard something's not good with Spice, blah, 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 blah. But I say all that to say, in that moment, when she mentioned my son, I was so thrown off. Because just months prior, when I found out about her and her situation, you know who was the first thing I thought about? Do you want to guess?
Her kids?
Her kids. Her kids. God forbid something happens to her kids. That's something I think about on my own. So it's just so to me. Here's this woman that's attacking me for the same things that we're so common about. At the same time, it's like, I just thought about her kids and like, God forbid, like what happens knowing she's a provider, knowing that that's all they have. God forbid something really happened to that woman, it's her kids. But I know the information, well, the person that made her feel comfortable enough to even speak on it, you know what I'm saying? Should have never made you feel that comfortable, especially coming from a man that you know is just as bad as your baby daddy. Probably worse. Spice doesn't have the healthiest relationship with her kid's father, just like I don't have mine. So you're taking information from somebody that you know has been dog walking me and now wants to change the narrative on something he created for himself. So, you know, she's calling him, telling him, oh, she's saying you're not paying child support and this, that, and the third. And, oh, well, that's why her son don't like her. So, da-da-da, whatever. And right then and there is when I realized, oh, you're using Safari's information or whatever. I instantly knew. But my whole point is, you're using information from a man that you know, it's no secret, not to really be trusted and is manipulative and whatever, just like your kid's father. So you're using this information to attack me, but here I am, like in the same boat as you. We are so similar. The only difference is the obvious, but everything else, we're very much the same as far as mothering. And that's why, too, it pisses me off when she says she didn't come from my kid, she came from my parenting. Who the f are you to comfort either? Because I'm sure you're not nobody can say they're the perfect fucking mother. There's no way in the world. There's no handbook for being a mother for anyone to say that. But I just found that to be so ironic and full circle. Like, I thought about her kids in such a crazy moment, and here I am trying to clarify, because that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to clarify this fabricated story that Safari told her and give my side to it. If you feel however you feel after you hear my side, so be it. At least I told you what it was. So if you need backstory, Safari had told Spice in voice messages. Now, this was done on camera, but wasn't aired. Sierra, Bambi were all in the scene at Carly Red's baby shower for her daughter. And Spice is playing voice notes of Safari telling her how when I told him about her and her situation that he started crying. And I was upset that he started crying and I started breaking things all over the house. I was upset, according to him. You know that shit ain't. First of all, Safari crying for someone other than himself? Show me. Show me Safari crying for someone other than himself if he's not on TV faking. Because we've seen him cry before and that was... So I just wanted to clarify what the happened. And what really happened was simple. I told him what happened. He made a comment. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do with myself if something happened to Spice. I said, well, damn, I was your wife and you didn't do a thing. You didn't even flinch. That was my initial, but it's also organic to kind of like, here you are, and you should feel whatever, because I felt whatever, but you're telling that to the wrong person, first of all. I'm still going through, and you're going to tell me you don't know what to do with yourself if something happened to a woman. But yet I was just in the hospital, so was your son, and you were on a full-blown vacation. So without even getting too crazy, that's really what happened. But he told her that I literally was going nuts because he was crying over her.
So
and that I was saying all types of and that I didn't like her and all this stuff. Now, this is voice notes that a grown man is sending another woman about his baby mother, ex-wife. So you're starting, not only do you pillow talk to your broads about your ex-wife, baby mother, but you're also gossiping to her coworkers and causing conflict. That's what led us to have that sit down. Because I felt it was important, because Spice was really believing Safari's story. And I was just like, wait a minute, like, girl, I was hysterically crying for you. Like, I love you. Like, up until that point, yeah, I have so much love for Spice. Still do.
So when you said the monkey comment, obviously you do not realize that that word is considered to be a racial slur when it comes to the description of black people. Even naming animals after us, right? Because what I want to talk to you about too is a lot of people are split on this, right? Some people say, no, she knew what she was doing. She's a smart girl. She knows that. Calling a black person monkey is a racial slur. A lot of people are also saying, no, you come for my kid. I'm coming for you back. All bets are off. Look, I'm a black person. And one thing that I did want to talk to you about is the fact that when it comes to that word, I really am curious in terms of, did you have any idea that that word was considered a racial slur? Because what people have discovered is your usage of it in the past.
It's been used by me, but not because I meant it in anything racial. It's just, I don't even want to say the wrong thing because I know how sensitive this is, and I want people to understand that even if I don't have the right words to explain it, I do know the damage, and I'm more remorseful about that because it's like, at the end of the day, I've been on this platform for so long, mostly because how relatable I've been, regardless if people like me or my antics or whatever, or what I come with, or I'm so used to being loved one week, hate another week. What's important to me is the supporters, the viewers, the people who've been in tune to my life for so long. Those are the people that I'm really genuinely concerned with as far as making amends with. You know, cast members and all that stuff that's falling in line because it's story and producers were told them afterwards and all of that stuff. You know, Not so much, because they're just in it for an NDA and the check, which we all saw happen at the table. But the people who genuinely are watching me every week, that love and hate me, those are the ones I feel like are more important than anything. Because without them, there isn't this. And I do feel, and I know, I disappointed a lot of people. I don't think I can. There aren't real words that I can put together to explain why I've said it in the past.
But you do see why people feel like you say it to these black people,
It's
right?
it's just a coincidence, but it's not that, and that's why I'm like, fuck, because it just so happens to be a coincidence that it is. But I've definitely called my sister a monkey before, and like, it's a word that I use to insult someone or be playful, never with intention of being racial or that. Like, I'm raised in my family alone. I'm blended, like there's not a racial bone in my body. Now that it's out there, and it has me very mindful. Like, obviously, I cannot ever say this ever again.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to cut you off because I want to have this conversation with you because I really want to understand the backstory too. So when you would say in the past, no one would ever check you on it, because one thing I will say about is this: as a black person, and I'm very honest when it comes to, like, I'm not perfect. Do I use the N-word? Yeah. With that being said, I'm black. I feel like we own it. Be very real with you. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I moved to New York in my early 20s. And obviously, New York's a big melting pot, of different cultures, Caribbean cultures, all that. And I remember seeing a large group of Latin men and women use it, and it was so jarring to me. Then one day, J-Lo used it in a song, and then she said, well, Ja Rule wrote it for me, but I would never say anything to hurt the black community. But I always feel like when you're faced with something of that magnitude, do you have people around you who's like, look, girl, I know you didn't mean it that way, but it's offensive. Just like I had to teach men in my family, like, you can't say, like, you can't say, and they're like, why? I'm like, cause it's a gay slur. I'm gay.
That's what makes this whole thing very complicated and tricky, and that's why it's like, at the end of the day, I can't justify anything. I just want to take accountability, and I just want people to know now, more than ever, the state of being mindful and more aware of the things I say and do is officially solidified in my life. Especially because out of all the things that I've done on Love and Hip Hop, this right here has been the biggest backlash I've ever gotten. And it doesn't even matter how I feel anymore or ever. It matters my supporters and what they feel, and the viewers and what they feel. That's who I want to apologize to those people that found it offensive. And I want to really clarify, and I wish I had the words, because I've been sitting on this for this moment, like, how do I explain this? There is no way, but just, I fucked up. Have I fucked up before? Yes. Will this fuck up help me prevent fuck up like this again? Absolutely. But I'm not racist. And I'm not a colorist. And I'm sorry to the people who I offended. I don't want this fuck up to
to make people feel any differently about me because of this. You know, like, especially people who have been rooting for me all this time, and then this happened and now they feel some type of way. Those are the people that
What would you like to say to the Black community? Because there's a large percentage of people in the Black community who feel this way, Erica. They feel like when it comes to some Latin women, it's like, y'all love black dick. Mm-hmm. Y'all want our rhythm, but not our blues. Mm-hmm. Y'all love to immerse yourselves in Black culture. Y'all like to cosplay as Black women. A lot of Black people do feel that way, and they feel like when it comes...
But it's crazy because just as much as Black women get shit, we get shit too. We can't, like, Latin women are always labeled as this women that just want to come and take people's men and all of that stuff. And it's like, it's sad, but both ends, no matter what the race is, we're constantly judging and like pointing the finger at each other when, you know?
Yeah.
But yet we're purposely dividing ourselves, you know? When really, like, that's why growing up in New York was such a beautiful thing for me, because, you know, my best friend was, best friend was Black. My cousin is married Black, so I have Black cousins, and, you know, like, it's always been a melting pot. It's never been separated. We've just all been infused together. You know, that's the way of New York. You know, we're all in this big melting pot together. But what I want to say to the women that feel that way, I know it's going to take time. But if I can be given that, not only will I be making up for that, but I will constantly be doing my best to remind them how sorry I am and the things I do from here on out. And genuinely, just overall, I'm sorry.
Would you like to apologize to Spice for calling her a monkey?
I would have if she was genuinely broken from that comment. But let's go back to the day it happened. She went on live and ranted for 3 hours on live, saying I had all types of STDs. Even mentioned Safari a few times. She didn't know I said that. She didn't know I said that until producers told her I said that. What she was more upset about, which made her go on live, her falling flat on her face. Because she just had surgery. That was the whole thing on why Rashida and Kurt was even pissed, because she just had surgery. Because even Kurt and Rashida went on live, no one mentioned Monkey because no one knew about Monkey until producers brought it to their attention. The same, literally, we fought, I went about my business the same day, the Monkey comment day. She went on live. You could pull it up. It's all over the blogs. I had lawyers contacting me, asking me if I wanted to sue her for defamation, that they were ready to just do it. I didn't have to put money up because they were like, you have a case. You could sue rocks off of her. She sat on live for hours at the airport saying I had all types of STDs, saying stuff about me with Safari, ranted about everything, and that was that day. The whole week after that, she was even making posts about my I'm doing subliminals, like, this is what real life is, her at a stage or whatever. This is what real life is, ain't no Tubi. So she was even like throwing jabs about me and my movies and this, that, and the third for a whole week straight. She was genuinely like, oh my God, she heard me say it and felt, yes. I would really sit up here with my blue shoes in my hand and apologize.
Do you feel like you were set up by production?
I really feel like production went, they were like, oh my God, this is gonna be great ratings. Let's go with it. And what they failed to realize is that, yeah, it brought ratings, but it also brought backlash that you now have to stay face for, and probably lost a lot of sponsorship. So they really chose to promote racism, but yet they want to have table talks now. And I'm not taking accountability for what yes, I did it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to show that, you should have shown her falling on her face too, because that's really what she was mad about.
What would you like to say to the black community who are offended by, because you do have a lot of black supporters?
Well, above all things, I'm fucking sorry. From the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. And like I said, I really genuinely want to do the work. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I want to do the work to take action to prove that I'm sorry. Not just say it and walk away because this is going to die down. That's not my mentality. This is why I'm sitting here with you. If that was the case, I would have just went about my business and not did this. But I don't know what it is, but I just feel like this ugly situation is going to lead me to a better purpose in trying to do something that's ultimately, it's not about winning anybody over either. It's about, okay, she's human, she f***ed up, and she made it up to us. Let's give her a break, or let's give her a chance, even if it's just a chance.
You want the chance to prove to people you're not a racist and a colorist.
It's not, I don't need to prove that. Okay. I want to prove that I'm sorry.
Okay.
And that what I said was not meant in a racial way. And I'm gonna make it up to them. I feel like I owe them that. Especially the people who, you know, I get it, there's people that don't watch the show and have their opinions, but the people who genuinely do watch the show, that every Monday, Meta Monday, you know what I mean? That I've been on this platform for so long, those are the people that like matter to me. They matter. They matter. They watch me every week. They judge me. They love me. They hate me. It's all part of the job, but they matter. Even if I'm on their shit list this week, because that happens. 1 week in reality, they love you. Next week, they don't. I've been there for 15 years of it. But I'm gonna make it up. I'm going to make this up. It's sad and it went down this way, especially being on this platform for so long, knowing how shitty they did me in the beginning. And it did me 20 times shittier in the end. But those people, I'm gonna make it up to them. And I know all I can say is sorry right now. But I'm gonna prove that I'm sorry. Because I am. And it's gonna take time, and I'm willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to do just that.
Have you been working towards understanding the issues? Because the one thing I will say to you is, because you are a woman raising black children, and the fact that you want to do the work, and I'm not here to tell you exactly what the work to do. I think you have to find that within yourself. The one thing I will say to you is, because you're raising black children, you definitely have to educate yourself on the plight of black people, so that when your child comes home and says, somebody called me a monkey, you understand like exactly what that means. Only you can do the work within yourself to feel comfortable. And
I'm still trying to figure it out. But I know, like even with the new ventures of where my career is going, I'm gonna be more mindful in just different situations that I have control over, you know? See, when it happened, I knew I f***ed up.
that day. But then I was filming for months and months and months, and I just was like, okay, I knew this day was coming, but I wasn't expecting it to be this bad. And that's okay. What's not okay is how if this was as bad as the network says it is, why wasn't I let go a long time ago? I actually would have been more content with that than the way they did it. Because you chose to promote something that she did not know about until your producers brought that to her attention. You promoted this fight for most of the year to promote this actual show, even coming on air. You guys saw bits and pieces of me and Spice and all this stuff during previews for how long? Which means they sat on this for long enough that they could have handled this whole situation different. And I'm not trying to say I'm not wrong. What I'm trying to say as a network and as a franchise, you use and suck us dry for your show to keep going. But when it's time to protect us and do right by us, or maybe wipe something out because as a whole, collectively, because it's not just us cast. There's other people involved in this. We all are eating from this, right? It's time to be more mindful instead of just always throwing us out there, wringing us out to dry to look fucking sick and not think about our life after this. I found out.
Yeah, how did you find out you were?
I found out this happened Tuesday of August the 28th, 9th, one of those. That Saturday, Instagram went up. I called my lawyer. Did anybody call you?
Wait. So the episode aired on a Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You didn't find out you were fired from Love and Hip Hop until you went on Instagram and saw
their little save face statement. I called my lawyer like, did we get a formal pink slip? And does this mean I'm officially free from this contract? Because I was like more excited about that. Because remember, I'm like dying to get out of my fucking options, you know? No letter. When we finally got a response from their lawyers, he claimed he tried to call my lawyer, but the call wouldn't go through.
You found out on social media that you were suspended from filming from Love and Hip Hop.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, that Friday of that week, I was in green screen. I was working. Let's just put it like this. Because of all of this, the whole second half was storyline based around me. So right now as we speak, they're scrambling, trying to film shit to take out so much of the shit that I was in. Like the whole second half was based on me because of everyone's, like Jessica White is totally on my side. And then, you have other people and Bambi, so it was, we were split it because of all of that. And we've been filming, Yeah.
Have you heard from Bambi and Sierra?
I will never hear from Sierra again because I personally made sure of that. But Bambi I speak to all the time. That's like my real friend.
And Sierra because of the Safari situation?
I mean, Sierra just because she's weird.
Okay.
She, you can't claim you're my friend and go out the way you did. Because you literally took 20 days just to tell me that my ex-husband was trying to get at you. And I honestly, now that I know her from the upfront and then I was able to pull myself out and look at her from the outside, I really think she contemplated on that, which is why she didn't tell me right off rip. Because if you're really my friend
and my ex-husband tries to get at you, are you not going to pick up the fucking call the same moment it happens? Like, yo, get your baby daddy? So yeah, I feel like 20 days to tell me you definitely had some other motives. And then her going on live to tell the world we weren't friends anymore and give her side of the story. It's just like, like that, her live legitimized to me she's guilty. Like she needed to say her side of the story to get approval from the world. When we all know you don't have to do that. Like reality TV, and you weren't blindsided. That whole conversation, you weren't blindsided. Clearly not, because Bambi knew, and I didn't even know Bambi knew.
Mona Scott Young made a comment in her Insta story saying handled. And then went on a radio show to say she has nothing to do with the show. She wasn't talking about handling you. She was more speaking about, what the network did. How did you feel when you saw that? Because once again, I'm now learning you didn't know you were suspended until you saw it on Instagram. Maybe minutes later, Mona posted handled.
I'm not going to expect anything real from a woman that can't even be real with the people that have helped her make this franchise. It's as simple as that. Especially with me. Like, you knew damn well, woman, you made me sign a contract that was so shitty. And after seeing Jocelyn's interview, I feel like, oh yeah, this bitch thought I was just straight, worthless. Because to hear that Jocelyn kept getting money as she shot out the ass. So it's like So, I just feel like she has never really done right by any of us besides maybe Yandy, but that's her professional ass kisser. So, but let's talk about it. Besides Cardi B, who has really been able to really blossom from this franchise? And I think it's made that way, structured that way. Because we watch your shows and how women are able to go through their ugly times, but they're still presented in a way where, regardless of you agree with them or you're going, it's a connection. Like you see them as humans. You're like, oh, okay. Like I may not gone through that, but I feel for you. Like it's just how it's formulated, right? Married to Medicine is one of my favorites. Like how, these women go through really real life shit. They might not be in the hip hop world, but they have their moments, they have their, but I'm sure on set with you guys aren't pouring liquor down your cast throat right before scenes either. It's formulated. And I'm not knocking it because I've been on it long enough. But I'm just, now that I'm able to really talk about it because nobody owns shit, let's just call it what it is. They know what they're doing. How many times have I walked into scenes that you guys have seen on air and I'm blindsided by people and things of that nature? And it's like, you can still give real-time television without ambushing people and without, taking advantage of their pain and making it so much more disgraceful than it is. Because editing is, we're not considered in the end. They're like, even now. Yeah, I said what I said, but the way you handled me, do you guys not want me to have a life after this? After giving you 15 years of my life, where you guys got a chance to take every relationship I've ever had? How many moments I've had on Love and Hip Hop where I could have had a moment from the time I tried to perform my first single to this, to my, every fucking time I had something good, down to my lipstick launch in the middle of the Bronx, which was the worst thing they could possibly do. My whole family's there. They bring some broad in that rich is quote unquote to approach me at a real event that I'm having. And it became World War One. You started a fight with someone that has a room full of cousins that's ready to rumble. That was all over TMZ. It was one of the earlier years of me and, Rich. But it's like, I never got a chance to just have a good moment for the audience and for them to be proud of me until I got married. And even that, they shitted on me because it was supposed to be a wedding special, and it ended up being about Joe and Tahiri and who the fuck wasn't invited and who was invited to my wedding, as opposed to showing them, the issues I was going through with my mom, or me with my son, or like real moments that led up to the wedding. It was supposed to be a special, like they made half of my wedding special into bullshit that nobody gave a fuck about. So when it comes to Mona, I appreciate her seeing that I'm a fucking star, because who couldn't? And I appreciate the fact that eventually, because my day of filming Love and Hip Hop, Mona was right outside. So Mona used to get my raps when I used to get set up. When my song got taken away, I left the studio after punching a hole in the wall and went right to Mona's truck. Because, yeah, she was on set. Those are the days that I was filming. I went right to the motherfucking boss. You bitch, you just fucking set me up. Really? My fucking song? So she has a different kind of rapport with me, because obviously those times I didn't care who the fuck she was. It is what it is. But,
what did you think about the Colorist special and the fact that you weren't even invited, if it was to?
They didn't do it because they genuinely wanted to or felt that they needed to. They did it because they had to. Which is why they brought in the cast that they brought in to sign NDAs, and they got that extra little check and so on and so forth. And they also knew who to pick to do that. Because truth be told, that segment should have been implemented in our Love and Hip Hop franchise for a lot of things going back to the early days. If you really meant it, you should have been doing this after a lot of other episodes that happened years ago for different topics and things like that. If you really want to make it because you need to teach our community something, there's a lot of shit on this franchise that has been allowed and exploited, and they got ratings from, and this, that, and third. They did that because at the end of the day, sponsors pay the bills, and when sponsors pull out, they got to figure it out. And really, honestly, it should have been me and Spice.
I think we all felt like if that was the intention, then yeah, it should have been you and Spice to have the conversation.
But they didn't want me to express these details, like a producer informing her, and how she really ranted for a week about everything under the sun, from my vagina having chlamydia to whatever the fuck she could possibly think of, for a week and change. Literally, this bitch subbed me for I don't even know how long. Not once did she make about it being that until she was told. And when she was told, they told her to keep it on the wrap so they could film on it. So much so, they sent her in saying the wrong shit, which is why it went from what I said, blue, to what she said, black. And then I also want to bring to light how I know people were like, oh, Yandy tried to explain things to her and blah, blah, blah. Yandy has called me an ass monkey. You think I'm going to sit up there and talk to a woman about what I said to another woman, but yet 2015, Hot 97, with Ebro in the morning, this bitch called me an ass monkey 5 different times.
Yandy called you an ass monkey?
Ass monkey. If you want to go, because Mona is going to film with you. If you want to act like an ass monkey and have a girl and have a guy and you sleeping in there, then you going to be an ass monkey. Of course they're going to film you. So when I said you weren't offended, you chose to be offended, that's what I was getting at. Is that you could have been offended at the fact that this woman talked about my kid, but you chose to be offended about her saying that I said this word. But you are guilty of calling me the same thing. So how can I take you serious to talk to me and lecture me and school me about something you're guilty of? So at that point, and honestly, this was done in they didn't show the scene, obviously, but they show clips of it for their special. Only the clips that were beneficial to what the narrative they were trying to portray. But that particular scene where you see me talking to Yandy, I was at Bambi's quote unquote bachelorette party that they literally put together just so everyone can approach me on this comment. They even had poor Shekinah in the building, knowing damn well Shekinah don't even like Bambi. Okay? So I guess they thought everyone was supposed to give it to me. Shekinah was scared as shit, came to set with security. Okay? Sierra didn't know what to fucking do, but do what she do best. The only people that really had anything to say and could say anything was Kurt, Rashida, and Yandy. And honestly, Kurt and his 4 earrings and Rashida, they can't tell me anything. I mean, you did a whole live picking a side and you didn't even hear my side of the story. You may be closer to Spice, but the right thing to be, if you're gonna do this right, is hear both sides and then pick a side, right? So that this way, when you're filming, you know what the fuck you're doing. No, you just went off with Spice, went on live. He even made comments like, oh, I know Spice is a good mom. The other one, not so much, da, da, da. So you got Kurt, his 4 earrings, and Rashida doing lives. Then you got Spice doing live. Then you got Yandy claiming she feels some type of way. You got my number, shorty. Why you couldn't call me? No, you waited to this scene that they put together. Then you want to approach me about something that I said that you called me just 2015. So I would have heard her out. Why not? Like, everybody should be heard out. But I'm not going to hear you out when I know and I've heard. I have it right here in my phone. You straight up called me an ass monkey. Straight up. So, like, why should I have this conversation with you? You're the wrong person to have this with. And that's why I said, it's like, you chose to be offended. Because I could have been offended when you called me an ass monkey, but I'm like, oh, it's an insult. To me, it's like, okay, you're insulting me. And I've been called a monkey. You acting like a damn, like, it's a common word. And that's why I said it's such a fucked up scenario, because it's like, it's something that is normally used around people, like in front of me by people of color. I'm guilty, obviously, of using it, but it's not in the intention of being racist. It's not. But that's why it's like, okay, I realize more than ever I have a bigger responsibility. Who gives a fuck what's normal around you? You kind of have to set the tone.
Yes. You have a big,
And that's what this is for me.
With
This
great
is the
power,
reality of
yes.
how, regardless to what people say I'm irrelevant, there's power in things that I say, and there's power in the things that I do. And now that I really realize the power in what I have, that's what I say. That's why I keep saying I'm going to make this up, because I know, I don't know how, but I know God is going to give me that, because I genuinely want that. I know I'm going to be put in a position where I can do that. I'm praying for it. I'm asking for it, and I'm doing the work for it. I just don't have the answer for it. But it wasn't that I didn't want to hear what Yandy was saying. It was just, this is the wrong teacher for me. So
what's next for you now? Because Love and Hip Hop thing happened, and then All Black said something in regards to Hush. And
I worked my ass off to bring Gina to life. I was filming Love and Hip Hop and Hush at the same time. And it was a lot of work, juggling the kids, bringing them with me, traveling back and forth. But I say all of that to say, like, I put so much into my character. And I think about my co-stars, like the guys that my cast, my own cast, the production, the behind the scenes, Bree, Chuck, especially because they gave me that opportunity. They wrote Gina and saw me fitting for that. And I don't know if you watched it, but it's a really good show. And I'm obsessed with my character. And ironically enough, I'm playing a reality girl, but I'm telling a story that's not my own. And I get a break. I get to still bring life to something and tell a story. To have that taken from me, and it's not even because, oh, I'm not gonna be a part of it anymore. It's that I know what goes into it. All the behind the scenes people that I love, and like I said, Bree, Chuck, like they gave me this opportunity. Sofali, who's like the set director, she's the one who spoke my name into the room. This is a new chapter, it's a new production in my life that I fell so deeply in love with. And to have it be taken and now I'm not a part of it because of that, something I was genuinely trying to leave and finish and put behind me, that's the low blow. First is the people that I let down in this, the people who feel some type of way because of this. And then it's the families that I've created in my acting career that I rub elbows with and I create beautiful stuff with. Because we all have plans. Like Hush this season is so good. So good. I'm just grateful that I can say I was a part of it for how long I was. I'm gonna miss playing Gina. She was very relatable. And, you know, like I said, when you have something good, you're working on it, you know what it's like, a new show. And I haven't had this new for a while, so it was kind of cool. It was like, oh, I'm ending this, and here I am with Hush, and we got picked up immediately for a second season, and this season is so good. We all dived in. We got TC Madison. We got, you know, Candace, who's on it, and like, you know, we're girls that are not a part of this acting world, but here we are, and we're fucking killing it. And then we have Carrie Woods and Joyful Drake, and just so many great people that are part of this production. And I'm just like, I'm sorry if I let y'all down, because we genuinely did have big plans for Hush.
Last question for, what's next for you?
I want a private life.
You're done with reality, you think?
No, I want a private life. I'll never be done with telling my story or being on TV. I was born to tell a story, whether it's mine or someone else. I believe that more than ever. Private life and I don't really know what's next, because I feel like my priorities have changed a bit because of all of this. I feel like I have more of a responsibility than I ever thought, because I've always thought, who gives a fuck, this is my life, like, I'm not a role model, blah, 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 like I always, whatever, that's not my responsibility to be anybody's role model. But now, I feel like I have a different responsibility. And I have to make up for some things. So, as far as what's next, I just have to do a lot of work. And it's not just career. I want people to understand that being in my situation and all the things that I've been through and all these ugly scenarios and this, that, and the third, the backlash to this, to that, that there is some type of real lesson and a real reason why this had to happen. Because honestly, I can't let this all go in vain. I can't. I have too many people rooting for me. I have too many people that probably don't want to root for me, that I feel like I owe them the chance to root for me. That's what I'm focused on, because this shit is not okay. It's not fair. It's not okay. And because of what I said, getting me here, that's really what I want to focus on. Just the amends that I have to make. And like I said, I don't know how, but I know I will. I'll fix it. I just need time.
You need time. And look, I know you need time, and that's why I do thank you for allowing me to talk to you. Because I know you need the time, and I appreciate the time you've given me.
Thank
And
you.
the one thing I'll say to you, like you said, just do the work. And only you know what that feels like. And even this interview happening, we've been trying to do this for months.
I know.
For months, and
I appreciate you, because I don't want people thinking, oh, now she's doing an interview. It was really, I want it to be in the proper headspace, because before I got here to even speak on anything, I wanted to make sure that I took it all in first.
Yeah.
That I feel the opposite side of how they're hurting or how this affected them first, full and wholeheartedly. I needed time to take in what people were feeling. Especially because I didn't mean it in that way, and I needed to take that in first so that I knew what I had to do with it. I didn't want to come into this not being considerate to the people that really have something to say from a real place. Not because they're just jumping on because it's trending of what everyone's opinion is. Yeah. So, but I do want to say before I wrap this up that, in my 15 years of loving hip hop, now that it's officially over, it's been one hell of a ride, but this was, all things come to an end. This was bound to eventually happen. It wasn't supposed to happen like this in my plans, but I feel like God's plans are always better than ours. Amen. But I just want to thank the people who watched me, who related to me, who hated me one week, loved me next week, the people who, no matter what I'm going through, watch, or just those people who just have kept this going for so long.